On Monday, Commerce Minister Hippolyte responded to remarks made by Titus Preville, the newly endorsed United Workers' Party UWP candidate for Babonneau and a former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Commerce. Preville, at his Sunday rally launch, criticized the SLP government's initiative to zero-rate value-added tax (VAT) on some 70 grocery items, contending that approximately 25 of these were already VAT-exempt, implying a disingenuous presentation of the policy. However, the minister moved to clarify the distinctions between, quote, zero-rated and, quote, VAT-exempt classification, a nuanced differentiation often lost in public debate. She also explains that the negotiating process with the business community and stakeholders is not an overnight exercise.
We had sat down with stakeholders, we had sat down with the Ministry of Commerce, with the members of the Chamber of Commerce, Lisbon. We sat down and arrived at a list of items that we wanted to be zero-rated. Now the main issue is what's the difference between VAT-exempt and zero-rated? And you said it several times. If an item is VAT-exempt, that is, there is no VAT on the item for the consumer. However, the business person who is operating cannot claim the VAT associated with the sale of that item. However, when an item is zero-rated, again, the consumer does not get the VAT, but the business place can claim the expenditure associated with the sale of that item. Why is it important? And I think, again, in my presentation in Parliament, I clarified it several times. The business community then have the opportunity to share that savings, that VAT savings, with the general public. So it has an implication in terms of bringing down the price of that item.
In simple terms, when an item is, quote, zero-rated, the store selling it also gets a tax break on their costs, so they are encouraged to lower prices. If an item is just, quote, VAT-exempt, consumers still don't pay sales tax, but the store doesn't get that tax break, meaning they might not reduce prices as much. So, quote, zero rating helps businesses avoid losing money, making them more likely to pass savings on to you, the shopper. Officials explain that this clever approach aims to lower grocery bills, even though the government collects less tax. The minister challenged Preville's recent assertion that a future UWP government would introduce new policies to manage pricing prices.
He was the permanent secretary, the head of the Ministry of Commerce. He was the technical head of the Ministry of Commerce for all this time, and he has not prepared. He did not present one policy statement to the government that was not implemented. What head is he now going to put to bring new suggestions now?
Hippolyte asserted that the Ministry of Commerce has significantly evolved beyond its previous state when Preville was at the helm.
If you look at where the Ministry of Commerce was yesterday and where it is today, a vast difference. Not only in price control items and what we're doing now in terms of containing high prices, when you look at our MSME program, when you look at our Love St. Lucia program, that's a ministry that has moved way beyond where Mr. Preville was. And this government and this country is not going back. We are moving forward.
The minister underscored the cooperation received from stakeholders, including businesses, but explains that the government has the capacity to undertake alternative measures.
I brought your attention that we had stepped up our number of persons on the road. In fact, for the last month, 6 weeks, we had most of our staff at the Ministry of Commerce, not only the Consumer Affairs Department, the other staff members of the other departments. We went around, get baseline data, and now what we are doing is the monitoring and to compare. If you realize at the last Parliament session as well, I started telling you, giving you information as to what the prices were and the reductions. And that is continuing. We are also working with the National Consumers Association, and we also have a hotline that anybody can call to give us information. We've done so and we will continue to do so. But I also want to say that we have received a commitment from the business community that they are going to work with us. As a government, if we believe that the business community is not working with us based on the data when we get it, then we do other things.
The minister underscored the government's intention to dispel misrepresentations of its economic policies, particularly in light of the impending election cycle. Gina Philippi, HDS News Force.